Excellent.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another interview with myself, Catherine O'Keefe. I'm thrilled today to be joined by David Foley. David is a renowned herbalist, and he's got many years under his belt in herbalism. I think over 25 years, David, or something along those lines.
That's very true.
So thanks, David, for taking the time to chat to me today. And just to give everyone a background, I have talked and done an interview with your colleague Roisin in the past around herbalism and menopause. But the reason I wanted to chat to you today, David, was in relation, in particular, to MenoFlash, and that was on the basis of it kept coming up. I kept getting messages from women saying, "Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this new product?" So I wanted to find out more about it, and as part of that, I was led to you, and as I know, you're the herbal inspiration behind MenoFlash. So just wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. I'm always fascinated by Chinese medicine and just, I don't know, just everything about it, and even the whole approach towards menopause is more refreshing, I think, more supportive than we have in the West. You know, we've got the old aging. It comes with a lot more heaviness. I think in the Western culture compared to, say the TCM, the traditional Chinese medicine perspective. And tell us a bit about, because just the background in terms of MenoFlash, because it's my understanding that it evolved from your experience of working with many women.
Yes, what my practice is actually this. In most herbal practices, 70 or 80% of your patients are women. It always seems to be. So, and a lot of them, obviously, it's gynecological problems. So menopause was one of the ones that really, there is, one of the interesting things about the whole Chinese philosophy is you go to the root cause of the problem. So if you look at the TCM, how they look at it, they never really treated menopause as such. It wasn't a thing menopause. Because I have found women in their 20s, well, particularly in their 30s, sometimes even in their 20s, that were having all the symptoms of menopause. And the doctors even were saying to them, "I think you're having early menopause." Mm-hmm. But when I treated them, and when I brought the body back into balance, because that's what it's all about, if you treat the root cause, get the body back into balance, mm-hmm. all of a sudden they went into the normal menstrual cycle. And the average age for menopause in Ireland is 51 years. Mm. And these women went on to have a normal menopause then at 51. Whereas if they weren't treated, they could have very easily had stopped having periods in their 30s or early 40s, So right. It's quite remarkable. So in the sense, menopause is not so much that people look at the symptoms like hot flushes and anxiety, night sweats, day sweats, all these symptoms that and I think someone said there's 34 different symptoms.
Yeah, I think there's more.
And there's probably a lot more, and reality, some ways we don't worry about this. We worry about the root, what's underneath that imbalance. If you treat that imbalance, then all of a sudden, all these symptoms go away. They disappear. And what's great about it is that, when you treat it properly, you have a normal menopause. Now, lifestyle today is very, very stressful. It's far more stressful. Grandmothers, for instance. So in actual fact, that stress then causes a major weakening, imbalance in the body. Often the adrenal glands are worn down. The adrenal glands, as you know, are the glands that sit on top of the kidneys that actually control a lot of our hormones. Yeah. And once that is depleted, once that becomes atrophied, which means it's thinner, like it's smaller, it's just shrunk because it's been used so much. Yeah. And you can actually, through getting that body back into form. So it's like food. If you feed the body a certain way, it'll grow a certain way.
You nourish it.
Nourish it.
Yeah.
So what we do with the herbs, I found a combination of herbs that really nourish the body and nourish the adrenal glands to help nourish the nervous system. So this variety band of herbs, along with the vitamin B6, has the benefit that it's physiologically a lot of these symptoms disappear.
Right.
Like insomnia and so forth, and night sweats and things like that, and often in a very short period of time. But what's more important, Catherine, and this is very important, is that we're not treating the symptoms, we're treating the underlying cause. So if you treat the underlying cause of any problem, it eventually usually goes away.
I often say our biggest enemy in menopause is stress. And just as you've mentioned there, David, I think a lot of times we forget about the adrenal glands. And I would always explain that, the adrenal glands also produce estrogen. But the problem is when you are constantly in a fight, flight, freeze situation and under perceived threat, your adrenal glands are concentrating on adrenaline and cortisol, and there isn't even time for estrogen to kind of get a look in. And then again, as you said, if the body is under constant stress, it depletes the adrenal glands. And I would see that a lot. And as you said, like a lot of us, there's different stresses in everyday life now. And even now with COVID, we've got, different stresses again, that we're trying to, and the other area, that I would see, and I've been writing a lot about this week, is the liver. I find a lot of times that we kind of forget about our poor liver and, the really, really important job that does in terms of, at all stages in life, but particularly in menopause. We need that filtration system that, comes through the liver.
That's right. That's so true. And this is the whole point of it. Really, is like there isn't just one particular aspect of once you treat holistically the root cause of the problem, nourish that where that deficiency is, or where the excess is, deplete that excess where it is. Then all of a sudden, the body comes back into good, it comes back into homeostasis. And it actually starts functioning the way it should be. It's a normal pattern to go through the menopausal period, and the body recompensates for the lowering of the. You don't need high levels of estrogen and progesterone anymore, but your body then, as you say, produces itself. But if it can't produce it, there's where the problems is. Yeah. And with stress, the problem with stress is it doesn't go away. And there's many stresses. Like, it's not just emotional stress we're talking about. It can be chemical stress, physical stress. I mean, people that over-exercise is very common nowadays too. So, there's many stresses that a person can feel. And if you can get what's wonderful about herbs is that it can actually feed the nervous system, so that the actual people, even though the stresses don't go away, they're still there. You still have these stresses wherever they are coming at you, but the body is able to cope with those stresses.
David, like, say, if you have a woman who's ravaged by brain fog, it's interrupting her life, is ravaged by, hot flushes during the day and so forth. I do think in certain situations, depending on the severity of the symptoms, and, I think there are women who really do benefit from HRT, where they need to replace, say, the hormones that are being lost in a higher dose. Whilst we know then that there is also those women who actually transition really easily through the different stages of menopause, and it may be just like the support of something like MenoFlash, helps that, smooths that transition. And for me, I always think it's not one size fits all. It's quite different, because depending on everyone's life, the experience is going to be different, right?
Oh, it's very true. Everyone is different, and when we treat people, like, that's why we have consultations with them to find out what is going to work for that particular individual. And we often, change herbal formulas suited on the person.
Yeah.
But what's wonderful about this combination of herbs, because over the many years I've been working with ladies with menopausal symptoms, is like that. I found that in general, that a certain combination of herbs works with a high percentage. It's not going to work with every case, as you say. It's not going to work with a high percentage of cases. So you're getting results with the majority of people. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there's some fabulous herbs in here. Now, obviously, I'll say I know I wouldn't have the knowledge you have, but there's hops flower extract, which I'm presuming is calming. Is that right? Is that kind of
what we try to do in the combination is like herbs have many facets,
Yeah.
So with the combination of herbs, we've some herbs in there that actually have the ability to that it may relax people, and we've other herbs that may build up the adrenal glands or nourish the adrenal glands. In that way, we kind of come at it at two angles, So that's so often with one of the problems is like that when the menopausal ladies, they're having these symptoms like hot flushes and so forth and sweats and so forth. They're not sleeping probably, because of that. Well, and they're stressed. That combination. So you have to kind of break that vicious cycle, because that vicious cycle only makes things worse.
Yeah.
If you're not sleeping, your adrenal glands are getting more deficient. If you're stressed, your adrenal glands get more deficient. So they're in this cycle. They can't get out of it.
Yeah.
And what we try to do is we try to break that.
There's licorice, there's Siberian ginseng, there's a whole other host, and as you say, there's the vitamin B6 as well. And I'm always talking about the B vitamins in general, how important they are in menopause. And for many people, they may get a great supply through their food, but for sometimes for vegans, vegetarians, they don't, so they have to be very, very careful that the B vitamins to me are just essential. And to me, with the B vitamins, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're on medication, you're not, you need to ensure you've got either foods or supplements with B vitamins, because I always kind of see them as like the cornerstone, the backbone of menopause support. I think they're that important in terms of what they can do.
That's right. So it does. The B vitamins are very important. That's why we have it in there. It really supports the body, supports the nervous system, supports fatigue, helps the physiological functions of the body, so that they actually go back into balance.
Yeah, and it's lovely too. It's Irish, eh? I'm just opening it up to show people. Let's see, lovely Irish product. I do like that.
Thanks very much.
As much as I can. I'm going to open this now in a few minutes. Go pop a few pills. Well, I'm just going to, because people often ask me, "Oh God, are the big tablets?" So I'm just going to actually show people what they look like. They're not big at all. There.
We try to get the herbs always very much ethically sourced, so we're very careful that, and they're all tested, of course, that, there's nothing bad in there, because obviously you don't want that.
Of course not.
So, and it's easy it's handy, the tablets, we decide on it.
Well, it is throw them in your bag if you're going, and you take 2 per day, isn't it? 2 per day.
2 per day. That's right. Yeah.
So I mean, if I'm going into, what's going to make me take MenoFlash? Is it because my hot flushes, or is it more to the point of really just supporting your adrenals?
Well, the thing is, what happens is, most people are buying this product because they want to actually get out of this vicious cycle they're in of their menopausal symptoms, like their insomnia, their hot flushes, night sweats. I mean, we had one woman, I just comes to mind now. She's 54. She started, and within, she was having, as I told you, 30 hot flushes in a day.
Right.
Within
Okay.
7 days, that was reduced to 3, and she was sleeping well. In
Wow.
other cases,
Okay.
a little bit longer, 10 days generally.
Yeah.
So within a very short period of time, they're finding that they're sleeping well. Their hot flushes are less. Their night sweats are less.
Okay.
They're more relaxed. So this is really the reason that people, try this combination.
It's great to have another really good Irish product that's there that supports women. And I actually, David, just to mention, I've gotten a lot of feedback on this between emails and on social media. And I have gotten feedback from women who are actually on HRT, but took MenoFlash as well. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I know I had 2 ladies who told me that they were doing very well on HRT, but they weren't resolving their hot flushes, and they took MenoFlash, but that's just kind of just feedback I've gotten. But I do know, I was doing a talk recently, and there was a great conversation about it, because there was a few women who actually had taken it and had good reports on it, which is great. So
thanks very much.
Good
That's
to hear.
Great. It's completely different way of with this combination, it supports the body. It supports the body, so there isn't any problem. If a person is, it's not going to contradict anything that like HRT that they're taking.
There's no contraindications.
There's no contraindication, because it's not supplying hormones or anything like that. It's just supporting the body. And once it does that support, then things just are a lot better.
Life improves for all.
Life improves for all.
For all.
That's right. That's
okay.
right.
Well, listen, David, it was lovely to talk to you, and thanks a million
Thanks so
for
much, Catherine.
taking the time out of your busy day. And
I
look forward to watching this one more, because I can see it's because it only came out. Am I right? Just a few months ago. Is that right?
That's all. Just a few months ago.
So we have it hot off the press.
Thanks very much.
Well, thanks a million, and keep safe up there now in Letterkenny.
Thank you so much, Catherine. God bless you.
Everyone.
Yourself.
Thanks everyone for watching.